Hello and welcome to Beyond the Contracts, a podcast with your hosts Maresa Morrow
and Jennifer Hart.
I'm with Parks Realty here in Murfreesboro, and Jennifer is with Churchill Mortgage.
Yes.
We are excited to bring you this new podcast, Beyond the Contracts. We are going to be talking about real estate industry, mortgage industry, and everything beyond. And that's going to include your community service, things that her and I are involved in, and things that are coming up in your community. But first, we want to tell you a little bit about ourselves. Jennifer and I have over 35 years experience in the mortgage and real estate industry. I'm a native of Rutherford County. I have two children, one grown, one married with a daughter in love, and one at MTSU, local. And Jennifer has...
I've got one son that just graduated from high school, and husband I've been married to for 22 years. We moved to Rutherford County in 2001. So we've been here a minute, but I was actually born and raised in Middle Tennessee. And also we have a daughter. She's my bonus daughter, and we have a new grandbaby, Lila Mae, and she's 2.5, and she is a sheer joy. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So this podcast is going to be about the ins and outs of your community, Rutherford County, a lot of the events. So join us bi-weekly and tune in and see what we're all about.
Yeah. So you'll be able to find us in multiple areas, but we're going to just start with an overview about what we're seeing and experiencing. But we also want to share with you about some up-and-coming community events, basically. We also want to spotlight some local businesses. And I think we may decide to try some coffee shops and other cafes or whatever in Rutherford County to share with you about our opinions on these places, coffees, teas, whatever.
So join us to see what we're sipping on.
Exactly.
And make sure to look us up on our social media,
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram, lots of TikToks coming at you.
Yeah. So there is so much fear right now in mortgages and in real estate. There's a lot of misinformation. And so one of the things that we both work very hard to do is educate people, especially our Rutherford County residents, about what we experience on a day-to-day basis, the questions we get, common myths that are running throughout our community in people's minds and their decision making. So we want to talk a little bit about what we're experiencing in real estate. And I'm going to let Maresa share a little bit about that. And then I'll talk about a little bit in regards to interest rates and the mortgage industry.
So one of the things that I keep coming across is I have a lot of first-time homeowners, and they, in years past, from parents or whoever, has said, oh, you're a first-time homeowner, you can get a no down payment, 100% financing loan. And that is true. But the difference is down payment and closing costs. Yeah. You may get that down payment paid for, but a closing cost is a totally different animal. So you do have to either figure out your financing on the front end of that, or come to the table with a little bit. Don't have expectations of, I'm not going to have any skin in the game.
And so share with everybody about how you deal with that, because that affects the strategy behind the offer, and talk about inventory levels and how all that plays into a part of actually the financing and whether their offer, if it's submitted, will it be accepted?
Right. Well, our market has definitely changed from years past, and that's a good thing. And part of that good thing is we are able to go to the seller and ask for closing costs. In years past, it was above list price offers. You weren't allowed to, not allowed, but you didn't really have the freedom of having any contingencies in that offer. You certainly couldn't ask them to pay closing. We're a little bit different now. The market is shifting back towards that slightly, but for right now, you do have a little bit of liberty in asking the seller to pay for some closing costs. Now, I've got some people who want to come in way under list price and ask for closing. That's probably not going to happen, but educating them on the front end and getting with their lender and making sure we have products that are available to them And right now, lenders are rolling out more and more products almost weekly,
Yes.
to accommodate some of your first time homeowners, and others as well.
Yeah.
But knowing what your down payment is going to be and your closing costs, and that combination, and educating them on the front end of letting them know. And that might take a little bit more time, but we do have more time. Houses aren't selling as quickly as they are,
good point.
even
Good point.
though our inventory is still low. We just looked up statistics, and it was
there are 2 homes for sale for every 1,000 people in Rutherford County.
That's mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. And this comes off a website that I look at daily in regards to what's going on with markets and whatever's going on in the industry as a whole. But yes, in Rutherford County. And the other thing is, if you look at trends, we've got a sizable population, especially in Rutherford County, for those individuals looking to buy their first home.
We also have 20 people moving to Rutherford County every single day.
Yeah.
That's a lot, and we've got to put them up somewhere. And those statistics can roll into apartment dwelling and all. So when you look at that big picture and how many houses are on the market, we still are in a very competitive market for our buyers.
Yes. And that's really where a lot of misinformation comes into play. And in terms of the mortgage, when we sit down, we want to strategize with that real estate agent because of this very reason. And so when I work with a borrower, and believe it or not, pre-approval is the first step. A lot of people get that confused.
They get excited.
And that's understandable. It's an exciting thing. So pre-approval is the first step because you want to make sure you're prepared when you go into that situation. And there's also strategy, and it's especially true today.
Right.
And the strategy at which you approach and write up that offer, you approach that seller, is critical.
Right. And that's the thing is what she means by strategy is the terms of that contract and what is going to be best for the buyer and favorable for the seller as well. They want to look at that offer and be like, oh, okay, that
fair
looks
for
pretty
all
good.
parties involved.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair for all parties. And so the strategy can literally change from within a couple months time frame.
Absolutely.
It can change very easily because if rates drop, that's going to change the dynamics of the market. And we try to prepare people as best as we possibly can.
And speaking of rates,
Yeah.
there is a difference between your mortgage rate,
Yes.
your interest rate on your mortgage, and what the feds are coming out with.
Yes, and there's a lot of misinformation about that. And that they're 2 very different things. And when the Fed meets to decide what they're going to do with the prime lending rate, it affects the mortgage bond market, which thus affects mortgage rates. And there's, without going into too much detail, because a lot of times people get even more confused.
We don't want you to glaze over.
The most important thing to know is they're 2 very different things. And when they do one thing, it doesn't mean, when they raise the prime lending rate, it doesn't necessarily mean that mortgage rates are going to go down or go up.
Right.
So it's important to know the difference. So
Absolutely.
good point.
Yeah.
Beyond the contracts and the mortgage and real estate talk, let's talk a little bit about how we're involved in our community in Rutherford County, because there is so much going on. Our community is growing by leaps and bounds. And you being a native, you've seen a lot of change over the years.
There's a lot of change, a lot of growth, of course. Yeah. But with that growth, I know people, I don't want, I think California gets a lot of bad rap of people coming to Tennessee. But with the growth comes lots of opportunities.
Yes.
And a lot of I'm very grateful, and I know Jennifer is too, that with our positions, we are allowed to give back, and that's part of our job. And I hate to even say it's a job because it's a passion for both of us.
Yes.
I'm involved, and Jennifer is too, on the North Rutherford YMCA board, where we get to really, really dive in and help the community and truly give back, and that's a passion for both of us.
Yeah.
We're both diplomats with the Rutherford County Chamber. And
explain what that means. A lot of people don't know what that means.
So a diplomat is a volunteer position you have to be accepted for, and we get to go to ribbon cuttings, community events. A lot of it's volunteerism.
Yeah.
But it also helps us in our positions to be able to inform our consumers what's out there. Be the one to call. So if you're looking for a hairdresser or a mechanic, we have those people on our list to know who to give you. So I love being able to be the one that you can call for whatever needs you may come up.
We want to see businesses succeed in Rutherford County. And that's not just Murfreesboro. It's Smyrna. It's Laverne. It's everywhere in between. Everywhere in between, really, Christiana,
Bell Buckle,
all these communities. So what we do is we get out and we go to the ribbon cuttings and we help get the word out about these businesses to make people aware. And there's almost 70 of us that do this, but we've all become good friends. It's a great group, and we do a lot of different things together, even on the outside of that. But we're also we do have a passion for giving back, but primarily we want to share about businesses in our community, and because that helps our community thrive. It creates jobs and just all different kinds of things. But let's talk. So yesterday, the chamber does its 1 year big thanks, and what that is when we as diplomats we get out and about and take bags and just thank those companies and individuals that are chamber members, and talk about, we get to know these people on a personal basis, and
it gives them a face of someone with the chamber and whatever our production is.
And there were a couple of businesses that I got to visit yesterday. They're not quite chamber members, so went to visit these individuals, one of which started 10 months ago. This gentleman, he's former military, and he's already in 3 states, and he just opened a storefront in Rutherford County, and he has an amazing business. And
the story that you said he had, that's the thing, is that connection.
It's all about stories.
Yeah, that connection. When we get out in the community and meet these people and speak with them, it helps us to be able to tell their story and bring business to them. So if you are interested in joining the chamber or need any more information, let us know, because we can certainly give you what they've got, and we've got some upcoming events. As well with the chamber.
And what's happening, we want to talk about a little bit about what to look forward to. So we've got the chamber golf tournament coming up, and it's in September. I want to say it's September 14th, I believe. And that date is a family date. It was my parents' anniversary, so I think that's why I remember it. But I believe it's the 14th. It does sell out. It may already be sold out, but I think there's an opportunity if you're a business out there and you want to give something. That's right. There's an auction.
There's a silent auction. You can support a team. You can support with food. Any kind of donations we can take for that.
And then there's the Lambert Dillard race from the North Rutherford YMCA. It's an annual event. It's one of our 2 big annual fundraisers. But it is always at Sharp Springs and in Rutherford County.
We can do booths. If you would like to do a booth, you're welcome to do that. It's actually there's a lot of stuff to do with for the kids, and even if you don't run, you can come out and support. It's a little bit near and dear to my heart. It goes back to abuse and Dillard, Carla Dillard and Angie Lambert. I went to school with Angie Lambert, and
Rutherford County residents.
Both were taken from spousal abuse. So we would love to see some good support on that.
Yeah, because it definitely supports domestic violence victims and their families, and it's really special. We have a kids race. There's a walk run, so you can do either. We are actively looking for runners and walkers, people to participate. But it's so much fun. It's great for the kids. There's lots of excitement. So that's on October 14th. And then every Friday at the chamber, we have something called the Chamber 101. Chamber 101. And it starts from 8:30. It's from 8:30 to 9:30. And our membership director, she leads it up, and you can come and find out all the information that you would ever want to know. It's a lot of information. It's fascinating information in regards to Rutherford County. And it talks about the number of people actually moving into Rutherford County, which we've recently heard as of this week was 20 people per day moving into Rutherford County, I think was what we clarified.
That's right.
So we've got that every Friday. And then there was a groundbreaking that was rescheduled for next week.
That's coming up. Michael's Homes.
Michael's Homes, which is next week. All the calendar events, you can actually find them in Rutherford County Chamber website. But you can always reach out to us as well.
Absolutely. We have, and we'll probably post it on our social media stuff as well.
Yes.
So you can look for us on any of those platforms.
Yeah.
And find out what we're sipping on in a couple of weeks. We'll spotlight a new cafe or coffee shop.
Yes, and we're going to have lots of fun guests. We've got guests from Rutherford County or not that are going to share fun stories.
That's coming up.
A background. We've got a whole list of people. So we're excited about that because some of it I actually don't know, but I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, every person that we talk to, you're going to learn a little bit more, whether it's community or a certain company or maybe even about us.
Maybe even about us for sure.
So lend an ear.
Yeah.
So the next time that you're on, to listen to Beyond the Contracts and see what's happening.
If you have any questions at all about real estate right now, what it looks like for you, or you want to talk about pre-approval, mortgages, you've got questions, because again, we want to dispel those myths in regards to the industry and give you knowledge, because knowledge is power for sure. So we want to help with that. But I know we can find you on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
LinkedIn.
We share videos. We do videos. We also share about the ribbon cuttings and events we're involved with. It's a lot of fun. And then I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Haven't yet entered the TikTok world.
She's getting there. I'm going to get her on there.
We'll see about that. Okay. So anything else that you want to talk about? I have a question for you.
Yes.
What is the one thing that you really love about Rutherford County? Is there one thing in mind that you can think of?
One thing, I love the big town, small town. I still feel like it's a small community and there's lots of love there.
And what I love about Rutherford County is it's not far from Nashville, but you can stay there and get everything that a bigger city would.
Perfect.
And the people are amazing.
Yep.
So
that's it. And that sums it up in a nutshell.
We'll talk to you soon.
Catch us here.
Catch us here.